Hey everyone, this is my third video on this project and I have completed the user state of this application and the basic part of the dashboard activity. So let me show you this, share you the screen with you. So in our application, we have four screens for authenticating the user. But what if the user is already authenticated, like the user is already logged in? He must not be showing this, he must not be seeing this all screens again and again. So the idea is when the user is already logged in, he must be redirected to the dashboard activity instead of showing this all screens again and again. So how will we do that? How will we be achieving this? So we have this introduction fragment in our application, and in this fragment, we will check if the user is logged in or not. So how will be checking this the user is logged in or not? So when this activity triggers, how it get triggered? Like if you open the application, the splash activity will be redirecting you to the introduction fragment, which is introduction scene, the one I show here. So this one, this screen gets triggered when you open the application, and this is the backend part of the screen. So when the screen gets open, it creates own view created function, and inside the own created view function, we have this life cycle scope function, which will automatically get triggered when the own view created function gets triggered. So in the Class cycle scope, we have the model of this fragment. So in the model of this fragment, we have navigate flow, which collects which collects the which collects two things: the shopping activity, which is a constant, and account option fragment, which also another constant. So by this using these two constants, it will check whether the user is already logged in or not. So if the shopping activity, if the navigate view model navigate flow have shopping activity constant inside it, then it will direct you to it will redirect you to the dashboard activity straight. And if the navigate flow has account option fragment, navigate flow, this one, navigate flow have account option introducer in it, then it will redirect you to the account option fragment. So how it's going internally. So for this, I have created the view model as you as I have described in my previous video that first we have view, then we at the bottom we have model, and in between we have controller. So the backend part of this fragment is working as a controller here, and the view I have shown you the view which is the introduction fragment, and the bottommost part is the model here. So this is introduction view model, which is the bottommost part of the architecture, where it checks the navigate flow. So this is the private navigate flow, which will be executed in the view model, and this is the public navigate flow, which will be executing throughout the application and will be using in the introduction screen. So in the private navigate, it initially have zero integer value in it. So I have described the two constants value, which first is shopping activity and second is account option fragment. So as I have told you that these two constants will describe whether the user is logged in or not. So in shopping activity, I had took a constant. You can take any constant here. Like if I have given it 24, it will be 5. So it- the second constant is account option fragment, which stores another integer value. So this integer value helps to redirect you to the next fragment. So after this, we will check if the button is clicked or not. So in this introduction fragment, we have this button here. So if the button is already clicked and you next time you open the application, you won't be seeing this introduction fragment. Instead, you will be redirected to the account option fragment directly. So if the button is not checked, so if let's just first take the button is not checked, and the user here user is a variable, and it have the current user, which coming from the Firebase. And the current user, if we are checking if the user is null, if the user is null, then it will go to the next statement. The next statement says that if the button is clicked. So here you can see I have used shared preference in this. Shared preference basically it stores the small amount of data in the application and it remains stored until you uninstall the application or its value can get changed depending on your condition you applied. Like here I have applied is button clicked. In that shared preference has the key here which is introduction key and that key is referring to the boolean value which is 4. So which means the button is not clicked yet. So it means the value is false, which means the button is not clicked. So here its value is false, which means else if condition is false. So it will not execute this condition. It will directly come to the unit part. Unit part means that it will do nothing. So if the user first opens the application for the first time, it will do nothing and stayed in this application. And when you click the start button here, let me zoom it for you. So when you click the start button, the value of this shared preference is button click gets updated and it's set to true. And how it's going to be true? How it's going to be changed? So when you again in the back, now we are going to the controller part of the application. Sorry, introduction fragment. Here is the control. So we are in the controller part of this introduction fragment where we have the backend part of the button. So if the button get clicked, set on click initial function get called, and it inside we have view model. So it will redirect to you the view model. Now again we are going to the view model, and in view model we have this start button click function, which get triggered when we click on the button. And what it does is here you can see shared preference dot put boolean value. Here they have edit function and it is putting the value in the introduction key as true. So the introduction key is now updated to the value as true. So suppose if you clicked on that introduction button and you close the application somehow. So next time you open the application, this condition will be true now. So if this condition is true, it will redirect you directly to the account option fragment. And here you can choose whether you want to register or sign up. After that, suppose you have logged in the application and you have closed the application. So next time you open the application, the value of this shopping activity, it will check if the user is null or not. Introduction fragment. Next time you open the application, I know it's confusing. It's confusing for me for at the starting, but now I have understand that. And when you again open this the application, on view created function get called, and in on view created function, the lifecycle scope get called automatically. And in that lifecycle scope function, the view model get called, and in the view model, now we have come to the again to the bottom part of this fragment, which is model part. And in view model part, the lifecycle will check if the user is null or not. No, because the Firebase.current user value is stored in that application, and we will use that value for checking the user is null or not. If the user is null or not, the navigate flow, the flow here, which is the private one, will have this shopping activity value. Before it was having 0 value, and now it have 24 value. So after having this value, we will again go to this fragment here and it will check if the value is shopping activity. So as I told you before that if the value is shopping activity like 24, it will redirect to the dashboard activity straight. And if the value is account option fragment, it will redirect to the account option activity. So let me show you the graph here. So if the value, let me zoom out a little bit. So if the value is shopping activity, the introduction fragment will redirect you to directly to the dashboard activity. And if the value is account option fragment, which is an integer value, it will redirect to you. This value is the integer value here. So it will redirect to you to the account option fragment. So this was the whole part of the user state in this application. You have seen that usually open Instagram and you don't log in your use account again and again, the one don't open your account again and again when you open, or sorry, you don't log in the account again and again when you open the Instagram. And so this is the basic idea I want to implement in my application, and that's how I did it. And second part is the basic part of this, the basic part of the dashboard activity. So in the dashboard activity, let me show you my dashboard activity. So in the dashboard activity, I have implemented the portal navigation part. So you have seen in Instagram, you have some icons at the bottom of the application through which you can navigate through different screens. Like you want to see your profile, you want to upload a new picture, you want to see your notification and all. So that part I have implemented here, which is bottom navigation view, in which it has different screens like home page, search option, chat option, and profile option. So in the I for this video, I have designed the homepage of this application, and in homepage, I have designed this tab layout in which it has different options like the chair option, main option, accessories option, electronic device option. So you got the point, right? Like I let me show you my screen here. So one second. So as you can see, I'm already logged in my application, and it redirected me directly straight to my dashboard activity. And this is tab layout here. This one, this is tab layout which contains main, clothes, shoes, and electronics. These options and which I'm showing here. So it contains these options. And when I click on these options, when I click on these options, it will change these screens here. The bottom screen, it will change bottom screen according to this option. So yeah, that was the implement so far, and yeah, this that's it for the video. But one thing I have noticed while developing the Android application is that you must know three things. First is what are the functions? It's all about the function and building an Android application. You're not implementing everything from the scratch like you do in the backend. Like in Java backend, if you want to establish a connection between the database, you have to connect all things by yourself, like getting the local host, and getting the libraries package, installing them, and implementing them. And that's all part you do you by yourself. And but in Android application, just use functions. Like I'm connecting Firebase here. I just use for function for sign in and register for the user. And so the first part is what was the first part? The first part was the what are the functions, and the second part is how we gonna use those functions. Like you can't just use anything in the application and it will work for you. No, that's not the case here. So you must know how to use the functions. And the third part is where to use the function. These three options you must know while developing an Android application. At least for Android application, I know this because I don't know about other technologies like Turtle or Dart or something. But for Android application, you must know these three things, uh, except from the interface of the user. So yeah, that's it for this video. And one thing I want to mention that that's not the simple implementation backend implementation doing here. I'm using Dagger here and coroutines. So let me show you my dependencies here. So this is coroutines, and this is where is the Dagger here. So this is Tiger here. So quarantines helps me to manage the state of the application, like if I'm uploading an page to the database, like in the Firebase database. So the rest of the process must stop and it must execute that process first file, which is uploading the data image in the database, and that it will execute the another one. So this quarantine helped me to achieve this. And in Daggerhead, like you override, like you have seen in Java that you override the parent child function in your, sorry, you override the parent functions in your child class. So it's like same like this only. You have pre-built classes. You just inherit their functions and use them because you don't want to implement everything from the scratch. So Dagger helped me to implement this function easily. I have used many of the annotation here, like this Android entry point, and in view model I use Android head view model. So in view model I use Android head view model, and another example is app module. Where is see? So in app module, what it does it, I have described it as singleton component, which means it will provide the instance of these libraries for in the whole application, and I don't want to create the instance of these libraries again and again. For example, Firebase Auth, it creates Firebase Auth.get instance for the whole application, and I don't have to use write again the Firebase for that get instance, and it will save the memory also. So yeah, that was the application so far, and see you in the next video.